Dogs like race each other. They don't have the same length legs, so their natural walk. They don't really walk next to each other. And of course, they don't look at each other. And when we walk and talk to each other, we look at one another. So we had to do tricks with hiding trainers in the sides with clickers to try to pull a look, and very, very complicated.
Thank you so much for taking the time today. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Tessa. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Listen, this movie was so funny. I love how it's hilarious, but it's also like a toxic relationship and your friends are trying to pull you out of it, like emotional depth, right? It's a whole lot of stuff.
Oh, I'm glad you got that. It is all of those things. So I'm glad you felt that. Yeah.
It is. And that's why I love that it works so well. But I've got to ask you, they say don't work with animals. My goodness, you work with a lot of animals.
Lot.
What was it like trying to keep them all on task?
It was terrible, Tessa. It was as terrible as you would imagine. No, it was everything you could think. It was so fun and sweet. I was most days on set, I had a dog in my arms, and I'm petting it. So and they do calm you down. And our set was very quiet because the trainers really have the set. They're the ones, once we start rolling, it's them, and they need the right environment to be able to get what they need. And so it was very, very difficult, but I sort of knew it was going to be difficult going in. But I loved it. It was a challenge that I knew going in. It wasn't like a surprise. Now there were, of course, surprises along the way. You realize I think it's going to be hard to get the dogs to do something like break down a huge door. And they're like, no, we can train that, or hump things, like hump a random item. And like, no, we got you, Josh. We can train that. So that was surprising. And then, but on the flip side, getting them to walk and talk, just two dogs to walk together, I thought, oh, that's easy. Because with human actors, that's a very common walk and talk. That's how we block a scene. And you realize quickly that dogs like race each other. They don't have the same length legs, so their natural walk. They don't really walk next to each other. And of course, they don't look at each other. And when we walk and talk to each other, we look at one another. So we had to do tricks with hiding trainers in the sides with clickers to try to pull a look, and very, very complicated. The best compliment is when people come up to me and are like talking about character and story, because they don't even notice all of, how hard. Of course, my filmmaker friends, of course, notice how hard it must have been, but most people who just watch the movie just enjoy it. So
yeah, I wouldn't think the walking would be hard, but that makes
neither did I. And boy, was I surprised when I was like, oh, how many other scenes did I plan on having them walk?
How many can we cut and make this still
exactly.
work? But speaking of challenges too, there's that line with Doug, right, where he could easily go. He has to be unlikable.
Yes,
but you don't want to be like uncomfortable watching him be like very cruel. So can you talk about finding that balance?
Yeah. I mean, I think you said it well. And that was exactly my first call with Will Forte. First of all, casting Will Forte sort of solved all of my problems because he's just a genius. And he kind of, I knew he could do all the levels. But then him willing to be dislikable enough, right? Because that's challenging. Some actors be like, I don't want to be that bad of a guy. But he called me on our first meeting and he said, you know what, Josh, first of all, love this. So excited to work together. We hadn't worked together yet. And he said, I think I need to play him pretty mean. And I said, I think you're right. I think we have to find the balance. And of course, we'll make him funny in all the ways that Will Forte can. But for the film to work, he had to be the villain. And and you want him to get his comeuppance, and you don't want to enjoy how he treats this sweet dog. And so that was certainly a balancing act. On set, I would have him, I'd say, give me a 10, right, where he's really mean, or an 11, and then also make sure we recorded him at like a 7, where it's sort of sillier. And then in the edit, I had the tools I needed in case I needed to dial him up or down. But he kind of just came in right on target. He's so talented.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. He seems like he's such a good guy too. So, well, that's it. That's my time. I could talk to you forever, but thank you so much and congratulations on the movie.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great talking with you.
Yeah, so great to talk to you.